Okay, we are officially, I'm thinking, yes, we're officially recording. Welcome, everyone. It's such a pleasure having you with us today. And this is the fourth in our series. We just got started with the Chambers for Sustainability Coalition. As I noted earlier, we have quite a few different chambers with us today, different leaders from around the world. I wanted to just do a quick run through as we're waiting for more people to come on. This is, even though we've only been in existence just a very few months, we already have some amazing chambers. So we have the, who just joined, I think within the past couple weeks, the Jackson Hole Chamber. We have the Santa Fe Green Chamber of Commerce. So even though we as the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce is officially green, we're engaging with those who just have some type of sustainability initiatives. And those are the speakers who we have today. We have the San Francisco Chamber, who joined about a month ago. The Mexican, oh goodness, the UK Mexican Chamber. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
That one is the Mexican German Chamber of Commerce.
The Mexican German. Okay, the Mexican German Chamber. Thank you very much. And the next, Metro Atlanta, another big chamber, the National City out of California. We have a chapter, the North Florida Green Chamber of Commerce. And the Las Cruces Green, hopefully we'll have somebody from there today. Blair County Chamber. And the British Argentine Chamber, that was the one I was probably thinking of. Arizona Green, so we have a green chamber there. And then of course us at the US Green Chamber and the Cámara Verde de Comercio, which is out of Colombia, but they really represent Latin America as a whole. And this is really the beginning of this coalition, which is our chambers have been working together for about over 5 years now. So it's not about one chamber, it's about every chamber coming together, really having these new players and us all learning from each other. So if you're interested in joining this coalition, please contact Amanda at usgreenchamber.com. We'll also be putting up her information. So go ahead and go to the next slide. And this event could not be possible without our amazing webinar team and coalition staff. We have Amanda, who's our Chamber of Commerce Coalition Manager. She will be our moderator today. Haley, our Sustainability Research and Marketing Associate, who will be behind the scenes helping with all of our tech issues. Mandy, who's our Research and Social Media Content Creator. And if you have questions or have any problems, send them directly to Mandy. And Julie and Nancy, I know Nancy's with us today. She's our Corporate Social Responsibility Advisor, and Julie, who's our Communications Coordinator and Sustainability Consultant. So again, none of this would be possible without this absolutely incredible team. So I want to just say thank you. And I'm going to hand this off to Amanda.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And you always do such an amazing job praising all of us, but you never mention yourself, and you are an amazing leader. So I think you definitely need to be in that list. But nonetheless, we invite each of you to join on building this exciting new coalition. If you would like to be a part of the first steps or meetings or would just like to know more, you can just go ahead and email me. I left it in the chat not too long ago. We will be having a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions or concerns, like Michelle mentioned, please just contact Mandy in the chat box, and then I will be relaying those questions later on in the webinar. I would first and foremost like to thank all of our speakers today for joining. Each of them are very accomplished and have largely contributed to the sustainability sector, either personally or through their chambers. And if you would like to see their full biographies, they have been posted onto the Eventbrite for this webinar. Today, we will be having speakers from around the nation, as well as one international chamber. We are excited to welcome the Mexican Chamber of Commerce in Great Britain, the Plexus LGBT and Alley Chamber in Ohio, the Sedona Chamber in Arizona, the Fresno Black Chamber in California, the Carlsbad Chamber in California, the San Rafael Chamber also in California, and lastly, the Central Pennsylvania Chamber. Our first speaker today will be Yves Hayaux from the Mexican Chamber of Commerce in Great Britain. Yves?
Thank you very much, Amanda. It's a pleasure to be here with you, all of you today. I'm a Mexican lawyer with a French name, as you can see, and I'm based in London, so that makes kind of an interesting combination. I'm here on behalf of the Mexican Chamber of Commerce in Great Britain. The Mexican Chamber of Commerce was the first Mexican Chamber of Commerce to be established in Europe recently in 2011. And, you know, sustainability has been a major part of our development going forward. So Mexico, which we're very familiar in the US with the work that is being done in Mexico, has been part of North America and the trade and the globalization, but its international exposure has not been relevant until recently. So when we established the chamber, we started to work and understand a little bit of what's going on in Europe. So once, you know, we're extremely grateful with the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce to invite us and allow us to share with us some of our experience in this webinar. We're very excited, and certainly we didn't see our name in the coalition, but count on that. We're going to make sure that we participate in that coalition. So Amanda, I'll keep up with you on that. Now, what has been our approach? I mean, we're a new chamber, and we started to work on the sectors that were important for Mexicans abroad: food and drinks, financial services, tourism, technology, and professional services. And with time, we started to see that it was not just a question of, as some people say abroad, of selling Mexico to the world. That's not the right approach to take. As a Mexican Chamber of Commerce abroad, we're not here to sell our country. We're here to teach people and educate people about our culture, our heritage, and by educating people, then we can start to trade and do business in a different scenario, much more sustainable and following regenerative principles. So even if this process is going to take some time, and it's going to be not a smooth process, because there's a lot of change to be done in the mentality of people, we need to start somewhere. So we're doing it with Mexicans abroad that have been exposed to other cultures and industries. And then what we're doing is incorporating sustainability, green finance, sustainable finance, principles in infrastructure projects, everything that has to do with doing a business with a purpose towards maintaining a standard and integrating yourself to the community and the culture as a basis of how the chamber operates with its members. So it's a lot of education. We're bringing some of the institutions that are being brought in the UK or in Europe. We're following closely developments such as the donut economy. We're participating in those initiatives. We're trying to learn about the circular economy, regenerative culture, and bringing that expertise to Mexico, but also bringing some of the traditions that Mexico has and the culture it has from the ancient and the wisdom of our elders to the European culture. There's so much to share. We need to learn more about ourselves, and also to allow Europeans to learn how that ancestral wisdom is being kept within ourselves to be shared and used in a modern environment. Institutions that are used throughout Mexico can also be used in other countries and are being recovered. How we work as a collective. So a coalition like the one that is being brought here today and the one that is being nurtured is the basis for a new society where we work together for a common goal. So, I mean, in 5 minutes, I cannot say enough, but there are 3 main sectors that we're working on. Tourism is key. tourism in Mexico is not very well organized. It's concentrated in small areas and it doesn't reach the communities. So we're working with initiatives such as Turismo del Futuro to bring regenerative culture into tourism and allow the communities to take advantage of the richness of our country and educate tourists from Europe to come to Mexico to share our cultural qualities and richness in the natural environment in a responsible manner. Technology is an
This was the 30-second remaining notice, so sorry.
So technology is an enhancer, not as a solution by itself, but as an enhancer. How do we use technology to put in place and help people attain their goals? And finally, education. I talked a lot about education, but it's a lot about education for changing people and by them transforming society. So thank you, Amanda. A pleasure to be here with everyone.
Thank you so much, Yves. I also wanted to highlight the LATECH 2020 conference I believe you guys had alongside the British Argentine Chamber earlier this summer. Susanna, who's with the British Argentine Chamber, is actually logged on to our call today, so that's very exciting. And I just think it's very important to address how technology can, really impact growth in your two areas. And I know before we move on to the next speaker, Michelle wanted to make a brief announcement again.
Yeah, I just wanted to say very quickly that if everybody can stay to the very end of the program, there's 3 really, really important announcements and speaking opportunities for chambers of commerce coming up, as well as small to mid-sized businesses that might be part of your chamber, in addition to job postings. So you definitely want to stay to the very end for those announcements.
Thank you, Michelle. And then our next speaker will be Amanda Cole from the Plexus LGBT and Alley Chamber in Ohio. Amanda?
Hi, good afternoon, good morning in some places, and good day tomorrow and even others. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. My pronouns are she, her. Plexus, we're located in Northeast Ohio. We're one of about 60 affiliates with the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. So if some of the things I talked to you about how we create human sustainability and well-being around our diversity and inclusion efforts ring a bell with you, please be in touch. And it's likely that in the United States, there might be a similar Chamber of Commerce that you could partner with, because as we can see evidenced here today, it really is all about coalition building so that we can share resources and grow and expand our impact. We were founded in 2006 as a Chamber of Commerce, and then very quickly in our work, as we were working mostly with mid to large size companies to help them create affirming workplaces. And a little bit about the United States is marriage equality, so the ability to be married in a same gender loving relationship, was illegal until 2015. But of course, the private sector understood that it's good for business. It increases people's productivity when they can bring their whole selves to work, when they're not hiding their families and their partners. So that shift that we saw here really started through the work of the private sector, making those changes. So we created our education foundation because we were being called in to help organizations create cultures that were affirming, welcoming, safe, and also the policies and the practices that would sustain that indefinitely. So through our Education Foundation is where we do all of our research and development around trainings. And so as we're thinking about the well-being and the greenness of our environments and our actions, it comes back to the sustainability of people. So mental, emotional well-being at work. And one of the ways that we can ensure that happens is having cultural awareness, cultural competency, or even greater, the cultural humility, the ability to think about myself less and of you more, so that I can understand how other people are experiencing the world, both in privileges and oppression, and I can create systems of greater equity. But also, here in the United States, we continue to lose equal access and protections as LGBTQ people. This could be anywhere from not being able to access medical coverage and care as a transgender person, This recently, the Supreme Court, there was an opinion given that suggested overturning the protections for marriage equality. So as we see these cultural shifts happening at a larger government and national level, these trainings and educational programs are critically important. And that's what we do. We also, on a regular basis, we leverage the skills and abilities of our businesses to create online virtual learning opportunities. That could be from business plan development, but then also what are the unique challenges that LGBTQ folks are experiencing. Another thing that's important to remember is that LGBTQ people, we're everybody. We have differing abilities. We are of all races, of all origins, of all languages. And so we're often experiencing these intersectionalities when it comes to other barriers to starting a business, accessing capital, or getting a job, staying hired, and being employed. So through our training and education programs, whether it's small business direct or around diversity and inclusion, we're often always looking at those interlapping places. And Amanda, I have a timer so I can see where I'm at right now. So thank you very much. Lastly, we work with employee resource groups, and we partner very closely with the African American Chamber, the Hispanic Business Chamber, Women Business. So again, looking at those intersectional coalitions where we can really leverage all of our resources. And I think that's it. I ended with like 30 seconds to give. So thank you again for having us here today and for creating this place where we can keep on leaning into communication across the world.
Thank you, Amanda, or shall I say other Amanda. We would like to commend you guys particularly for emphasizing the importance of social sustainability, because I think this is particularly important in the current political climate especially. And as I'm sure most of you know, it's one of the key players of the triple bottom line, which is social, environmental, and financial. And lastly, I did want to make a note that this month from what I saw, is LGBT History Month, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Awesome. Our next speaker will be Jennifer Wesselhoff from the Sedona Chamber and Tourism Bureau in Arizona. Jennifer?
Good day, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm in Sedona, Arizona at our Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau. We operate both as a Chamber of Commerce and as a Convention and Visitors Bureau, or a traditional destination marketing and management organization. Our mission on the next slide was recently changed as we underwent a few changes in our community. And our mission is now to serve the community by making it the best place to live, work, play, and visit. And that changed a lot over the years, as we were primarily before focused on economic development and tourism promotion. And this mission now really, as you can notice, focuses on the living in our community and working in our community before we really start talking about the visitor and the community. The next slide talks a little bit about tourism and why tourism is important to our community. It's a $1 billion industry, and visitors generate 77% of all of our tax collections in the city of Sedona, providing all of the great amenities that we as residents come to enjoy, including the 10,000 jobs that tourism creates and the over $240 million in wages. So that's why tourism is important to us. But in 2016, we were starting to feel a little bit of the pinch of when it came to tourism, looking at trying to answer the question of how much is too much tourism, and are we loving Sedona to death? That led us to the next slide, which was the development of our Sustainable Tourism Plan. The Sustainable Tourism Plan was an 18-month process that included surveys to our businesses, to our visitors, and a first-time survey about residential sentiments on tourism. It involved over thousands of people, over 2,000 people participated in this community-guided development plan. And out of that plan came 4 pillars of the plan, which include the environment, the residential quality of life, the quality of economy, and the visitor experience. And really, prior to the development of this plan, we were really more, as a Chamber of Commerce and DMO, focused on the last 2 areas of these pillars, the economy and the visitor experience. And that's what we felt our mission primarily was. But as we started really thinking about the role of the organization in the community and the influence that we have as a chamber, we have about 1,000 members of our chamber representing thousands and thousands of employees. We felt that as an organization, we could do better by our community by trying to balance these 4 pillars of our community and use our influence with our businesses, our voice with our residents who are business owners and oftentimes employees or employers, and impact our quality of life, as well as use our influence with our visitors. So I thought I would just highlight a few very high level tactics in each of these pillars. We have over 60 tactics associated with each of the pillars. In the environment, it's really all about protecting the fragile ecosystem that surrounds us, including programs like Embracing Leave No Trace and trying to encourage our visitors to be better stewards of the land, especially because we're surrounded by natural beauty and public land, and we want to do a better job of protecting that. And volunteerism programs. In the quality of life, we know the pinch points for our residents, and that's traffic. So we focus on Sedona in Motion traffic issues, parking, walkability. On the next slide, it talks about teaching visitors how to drive roundabouts, and really focusing on the quality of life, really promoting Sedona when we need business, not necessarily when we're already really busy. And visitor experience is really all about trying to keep that high satisfaction level up for our visitors so that they continue to come back and have a high level of visitor satisfaction. So we're in the middle of the implementation of this plan, and you can see, if you advance a few slides on sedonasustainable.com, you'll see the status of a lot of these programs, and learn a little bit more about what we're doing to try to use our influence for visitors and really keep Sedona the most beautiful place on earth, because we know that that's how our visitors are going to keep coming back, and our economy is going to thrive. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I also saw through your website that your chamber's hosted a few stewardships like Sedona Tourism Care and Sedona Straw-Free, which from my understanding was specifically working towards minimizing the carbon footprint. And obviously from a green chamber, we love that. So our next speaker will be Tara Lynn Gray from the Fresno Black Chamber in California. Tara?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to share our work with you all today. As Amanda said, I am Tara Lynn Gray. I am Chief Executive Officer of the Fresno Metro Black Chamber of Commerce and Chamber Foundation, where we engage, educate, and empower our region's Black-owned business community. We have several programs that we operate, and just a bit of our history. We are a 19-year-old Chamber of Commerce, and after having been in existence for about a decade, the founders of the Chamber thought, you know, we really need to advance some of our educational programs, and created a 501c3 foundation to that end. And in 2017, when I came to the organization, just a little bit more than 3 years ago, I read the strategic plan that was for 2017 through 2022 who dares to put together a 5-year strategic plan these days? But nonetheless, we had one, and there was a single line on there, and that single line was to further explore opportunities in the green economy. And I thought, well, yep, that's what I want to do. So among the many programs, we have a women's entrepreneurship program called Prosper. We have a program called Friends, which is the Fresno Recently Incarcerated Entrepreneur Network and Discovery Strategies. We have a core technical assistance and capacity building program for small businesses that covers everything from small business certification, DBE certification, through RFX preparation for government contracting opportunities. We have a supplier development program that we run with a couple of local agencies to develop suppliers. But in our green team, which was originally established as a part of the California Green Business Network, we were doing green business certifications. And that, to me, looked like the area of growth for the Chamber, because I believe that chambers oftentimes reflect much of the spirit that their members do, typically small staff, doing a lot of different things from advocacy and policy work to the types of technical assistance I mentioned previously. And I thought that there was a significant opportunity for us to get involved in the green economy and emerging markets surrounding that. So we expanded the Green Team program with a Transformative Climate Communities grant, a little less than $8 million to develop an electric vehicle, car share, ride share, and electric bike network. Then we added the following year our Green Team Youth Ambassadors program, which is a green jobs workforce development program for young adults 18 to 24. And then this year, we have just added a project to study the climate change as a social determinant of health and Black maternal health. And so we are using every project and opportunity that we can to both engage from an economic development perspective, as well as health outcomes and health equity perspective. So we do the traditional economic development stuff, and then we do some additional green economy stuff. Our last project that I will discuss is our DRIVE initiative, which is a $4.2 billion regional initiative. And that initiative is comprised of 19 business plans, one of which is betting big on small businesses that are owned by women and BIPOC people. And we are spearheading that initiative. Just recently, were awarded funds by James Irvine Foundation for the first couple of years of that program operation. And again, we will be using those funds to further exploit the green economy and sustainable business opportunities for our members.
Thank you so much, Tara. I also wanted to congratulate you for, as I saw on your website, that your chamber was awarded Chamber of the Year last year at the annual Ron Brown Conference for, I believe, helping small businesses grow. That's incredible. I love that. Our next, before I move on to the next speaker, I also wanted to make a note to all of our new audience members. If you have any questions for any of the panelists, there will be a Q&A at the end after all of the speakers have gone, and we will be relaying any questions from the audience. And if you have those questions, please send them directly to Mandy in the chat box. Our next speaker will be Brett Schazenbach from the Carlsbad Chamber in California. Brett?
Thanks, Amanda. And just to let you know, I did start my timer, so I'm watching my time. So a little bit about Carlsbad. We are 30 miles north of the city of San Diego. We're a coastal community here. This is Carlsbad, California, not to be confused with our good friends in Carlsbad, New Mexico. We're a coastal chamber, and so kind of like Jennifer shared from Sedona, we have a lot of natural beauty here, and so protection of the environment and sustainable practices have been a big part of our chamber for a long time. We've had a green business committee or a sustainable business committee since at least 2008. And it's a very active, vibrant committee. They're very passionate, and they're constantly looking at ways to promote that balance, that appropriate balance between economic, environmental, and the social aspects of our community. And they host speakers every month on all range of sustainable topics. You know, of course, we can think of some simple things like, you know, recycling, but they're holding things on natural daylighting for your company, electric cars, and many, many, many others. This month, they are bringing in a guest speaker who is talking about the new state regulations in California regarding food waste for our restaurants. And so we want to help our restaurants implement best practices for their sustainability and their good business practices. But they've also hosted events. Our Green Business Expo has been extremely popular the last few years. And we've hosted it for many years. You know, of course, like any expo, it's to highlight businesses and products and services that have sustainable elements to them and our best practices. And then another thing that the committee has hosted is our eco tours. And eco tours have been very popular. We take members of our chamber out to businesses to get tours and have showcases of how these companies, big and small, are bringing sustainable practices into their real daily experience. And so there's been times when we've taken bus loads of people to businesses, and then other times where it's just been big carpools and van pools where we're going from company to company. And so the eco tours have been very popular. We also connected last year with the California Green Business Network. The California Green Business Network helps businesses in California get certified as green and bring sustainable practices across the entire company. So we're going through the process ourselves, so we can help lead the way to help our 1,100 members that we're promoting this to come on board. And we got an inventory of everything from the cleaning products we use to our appliances that are here at the chamber and everything in between, how we use water, energy, etc. So we're very excited to get our own certification. It was a little bit interrupted by COVID, but we're getting back on board to get that certification completed, but also to lead our members in our area to be green certified as companies. And we've done other things as well. We've co-hosted sustainability forums with Legoland, who of course is a big tourism draw here in our community, but people don't know, like behind the scenes, how a big theme park like that, what kind of practices can they implement both in their hotel, but also in their theme park to make them better stewards of our environment and better stewards and more sustainable and things like that. So, and that was a great event that we were able to host with a local city council person, with Legoland and ourselves. So we're always, that committee is always looking for unique ways to bring the message of sustainability and good best green practices to our community, to our businesses, and to everybody else. So that's what I had to share. And I think I'm gifting you 45 seconds, Amanda.
Thank you so much. I also wanted to give a particular shout out to Nancy, who's joined our call today. She was actually the one who mentioned to us how Carlsbad Chamber was an integral part of the California Green Business Network. So big shout out to her. Also, it's funny that you mentioned how the pandemic halted you, I'm sure as it has everyone, but I did notice on your website that you guys recently launched a gift card program where you guys are helping to kind of boost the revenue of your local businesses. And I think that's just amazing, especially in regards to all of the catastrophic loss that a lot of the small businesses have had to endure because of this pandemic. Our next speaker will be Chris Yolonis from the San Rafael Chamber, which is also based in California. Chris?
Good day, everyone. How's my volume?
Perfect.
Great. Next slide, please. I'm Chris Shalanis. I'm with the San Rafael Chamber just north of San Francisco. We're in the lovely county of Marin. And just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing. So we'll get pretty hyper-local as well as tactical. For those of you interested in the nuts and bolts of leading sustainable practices and programs for your business community. Marin is somewhat unique in that it's very rural, but yet just very contiguous to San Francisco, just right over the Golden Gate Bridge. But most of our businesses are under 10 employees, but we have been able to be pioneers over the past 40 years in a number of industries related to sustainability, organic dairies, and CCA, which is an opt-in program that the county created about 10 years ago to source its electricity from clean sources. And that has really allowed the whole county to lower our greenhouse gas emissions dramatically. The county was the first in the state to do curbside recycling and composting and even carbon farming, where we're able to draw CO2 out of the atmosphere through range management of our grasslands. Local food movement, human potential movement. So a lot of great consciousness on the part of the community here that we're working with. Next slide. So our chamber is celebrating our 100th year anniversary this year. And it's really enjoyed a great rating in terms of the North Bay. We have about 650 members, really strong chair and CEO, 19-person board, 8 committees. The Green Committee, which I have chaired for several years, is one of them. And so we formed that committee about 10 years ago, and we average about 10 to 15 attendees every month, and have about 30 folks officially on board for that. And our chair rotates every year or so. Next slide. So what we're trying to do is promote, like many of the green committees on the chambers, promote sustainability through outreach and networking in pubs. And provide training and education for our members, as well as the general business community outside the chamber. And then we advise on policy, but we also like the certification programs that, for example, California has. The Green Business Certification Program is a great one that I think that Brett had mentioned. And then we're very big on collaboration between the chamber and the city of San Rafael, as well as Marin County. In the region. Next. So on the educational side, we run a seminar series every quarter on where we bring people in and talk a little bit about sort of practices and programs for greening your business. We also maintain some web pages that are on the chamber site and take advantage of that traffic to educate not only our members, but the general business community. Invite guest speakers on various topics, and then promote our green events and activities through calendaring and our newsletter. Next. As far as economic development, we collaborate quite a bit with the city and the county on various events. The county is in the middle of revising their climate action plan. We've also developed an adaptation plan that a grand jury convened and worked on. So we're active in commenting on that and getting the business community's voice heard. We have about 500 businesses that are certified here in the county in the California Green Business Network, and we try to really drive our members to join that. And that is a checklist and an audit. And it really provides a lot of good visibility to the certified business. And again, we're active in contributing to the climate action plans that the cities and the county are putting together. So we have things like food waste to energy. We have mandatory composting, single-use plastic bans that we're trying to get the word out to the business community. Big EV per capita rate. I think it's second highest in California. So we're really encouraging fleets and commuters to migrate over to hybrids and to EVs. And there's now a very big push in the county around mitigation as well as adaptation. Next. In terms of promotion.
Sorry, 38 seconds remaining notice.
Great. We do have a Green Business of the Year award that we drive and participate in booths at various business showcase and festivals. Next. And finally, we're looking at an economic recovery, and really we want to bake sustainability and equity into that plan, and really we have an opportunity to drive conscious capitalism and really integrate climate change adaptation and mitigation into the general plans and the economic recovery. Next. So that's really about it, folks. I'm available for coaching and consulting to chambers and various business networks. If I can help you, let me know. There's my contact info. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I also wanted to do a brief mention that the San Rafael Chamber will be hosting a women's empowerment event later today, which obviously as a woman, I find very important, especially because I think that talking about these issues is very important for our business community, but more importantly, for maybe aspiring young girls in the next generation that are hoping to become our world's next leaders. Our next speaker and final speaker for today will be TJ Ike from the Central Pennsylvania Chamber. TJ?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Amanda. And the Central PA Chamber is really pleased to be a part of this. I just wanted to kind of give you a little synopsis of our organization. And if we could go to the next slide, please. So the Central PA Chamber of Commerce has been in existence for 115 years. Earlier this year, we have celebrated our 115th anniversary. So we have been here long and we're true and tried. Next slide. So our Green Business of the Year program was created and launched in 2013. The purpose of this was to showcase the environmental efforts of businesses through this program, of which we encourage businesses to be green. Primarily the reasons that we want them to be green is of course because of the effects that it's going to have on the earth, but also sometimes you can encourage folks if it's something that impacts their bottom line. And so if they find ways to recycle, be a little more self-conscious about electricity usage and those things, if they see it impact their budget and their bottom line, they're more proactive to take part and participate in these things. If you go to the next slide, we try to make sure that folks know that green business is good business. We have a special icon on our website. If individuals are green centric, they can actually go and look at the member listing of nearly 500 businesses and click and select who they want to do business with, whether or not they're green. And the next slide. So it's really simple to be a part of this program and to be considered for recognition. Of course, you need to be a member of the Central PA Chamber of Commerce. If they're doing business in our region, we want to make sure that they demonstrate, not only say they're green, but they demonstrate in various major areas. For example, recycling, waste prevention, being conservative, purchasing. What happens is they fill out an online application that has a variety of questions in each of these different areas, and it tallies them and gives them a score. It might also indicate some things that they hadn't thought of. For instance, here in our office, primarily the entire facility is on motion sensor for lighting. So there's no chance of forgetting to turn the lights out at the end of the day, or if a room's not being used, we try to do that. We are really self-conscious to make sure that plumbing is restrooms and things like that, that we have things updated so that are a little more water sufficient as well. And when I was hired here a few years ago, we had dumpsters here. And we actually had someone who specializes in single stream recycling visit. And during their visit, they were able to climb in our dumpster and pick through what all should not have been in the dumpster. And we now just have 2 trash cans monthly from our entire office between shredding and recycling. So that's pretty amazing too. And it was a cost-effective move as well. Next slide. So a green business, they're recognized on our website, as I had mentioned, but we also feature one winner a year on Earth Day. So we also give them the cover of our magazine after Earth Day, and they are surprised by us dropping by at their business and showcasing them and their business with an award. And next. So this is going to showcase again on our website. You can see if you click on this green business logo, you can very quickly see who is a green business and make sure that you try to do business with them. There's an example of one of our Green Business Award winners on the cover of our magazine. Our magazine is published hard copy, and there's about 300 copies traditionally throughout our region in high traffic areas, but then it's also a virtual digital version as well. So it gets them a lot of recognition for doing good. And then this is in one of our rooms here at the Chamber office. It is a tree with the logo on for the Green Business. And each recipient of the award is photographed with their award, and they become a leaf on this tree. So that way, when folks are here visiting our office, they can very easily recognize folks who are making a difference in regards to being green. And our green businesses are currently represented by not-for-profits, manufacturers, offices, health and medical schools, also restaurants, technology, and home and garden. We've had anywhere from a dentist to a pet groomer. It's just really interesting to see who takes the initiative to be green, and we all can. And this is just a rundown of our award winners, and you can see the difference in the types of businesses here. For instance, the restaurant actually has a garden in the back. They chose to opt to not use dishes that they need to wash, but things that are biodegradable in regards to disposable dishes. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be green.
Oh, sorry, this is the 30-second remaining notice.
Yep.
Oh.
And perfect final here. So this again is the logo and my contact information. The program continues to grow each year, and we would be welcoming to anyone who would want to learn more or perhaps give us some ideas how to make it a stronger program as well. And I do appreciate the platform here today.
Thank you so much, TJ. Clearly your chamber has done some amazing things through your green business program, and I guess happy 115th anniversary. Did not realize you guys have been around for that long, so clearly you guys are, I'm sure, pioneers in this space. I believe that concludes all of our speakers for today. I would like to thank the panelists for sharing about their wonderful initiatives. I believe that with the implementation of programs like these, we can achieve a more sustainable environment and, more importantly, get one step closer to this greener future that we're all striving for. And obviously, us chambers have a very powerful influence over our business members, which then inherently affects the communities as a whole. So with this, we can truly change the course and mindset of our society. I would now like to begin the Q&A. So if the speakers could all please turn on their videos and mics. Haley, if you could please turn on the mics of all of the panelists. And then also to all of the audience members, if you would like to ask any questions to the panelists, please just go ahead and drop them in the chat to Mandy, and then we will be asking them throughout these next 10 to 15 minutes. But I guess to begin, one of the first questions was for Amanda Cole. Could you please elaborate or discuss a bit more about the intersectionality and how chambers can address this?
Yeah, absolutely. So intersectionality as a concept was kind of created in the theory by Kimberly Crenshaw. So if that's a new concept for you, she has a really great TED Talk. So that's Kimberly Crenshaw. And what that looks at is the way that this was started was there was a suit in California by a Black woman that she had experienced employment discrimination. And the ruling was not in her favor because there were Black people working at the plant, but they were on the manufacturing floor. And there were also women who were hired as secretaries. So she was at this intersection, right? That it wasn't that her identities are in a silo, it's that she was experiencing both racism and sexism. So how do we do this? Well, I think that depending on your chamber, the most important thing is to partner with other organizations that are leading in this way. So for us, we have a committee, we have a community education and public awareness committee that drives our research and development around justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. We call it our JEDI approach. So we are representative as far as different sectors, age, gender, race. And through that is where we really build our community partnerships. So we're a chamber of about 260 members. Of that, 30 members are community partners. So these are other mission-driven organizations. And so when we're creating curriculum, when I'm brought in to create a training or a panel, I bring other people along with me. I co-present with trans-identified folks. I co-present with people of color, BIPOC folks, so that I'm not only speaking from my perspective as a white lesbian, I'm bringing in other folks who are research-based and also have their lived experience. So I think it's really around coalition building. And I tell other white people, coalition building is not just being like, why is nobody coming to my events? We have to identify the places that we show up so that we can show that we are actually going to put some of our own time, energy, and resources into the game, rather than asking, you know, why are all the Black kids sitting together in the cafeteria? The question is, why are all the white kids sitting together? And so how can I start to go over and show up for other people's events and programs and resources?
Thank you so much. I believe I would like to get one question per speaker, hopefully. So I believe maybe we have enough time for like 1 minute per response. So I will try to do my best. I'm so sorry. I guess this is a good segue into Tara. Someone asked about the Fresno, they saw that there was like a Fresno Green Team Youth Ambassadors program where you're really trying to influence and like empower these kids, and particularly by POC young adults, specifically in the sustainability field. Why do you think this is important?
Well, I think it's important for a number of reasons. The unemployment in the Black community is higher than any other community. And when you examine unemployment within the Black community, unemployment for youth 18 to 24 is double digits. I mean, it's well over 20%. And so our approach and the reason why we focused on that is twofold. Number one, again, as I said earlier, we want to be able to exploit emerging markets and the opportunities in the green economy. But then secondarily, we want to address unemployment for our youth. And if we bring the two together and we do it right, then we pay them to get experience that will help them be a part of an economy that they might otherwise not really intersect with. And we really had a gift in it, because I will say that as the program was originally written, it was done differently. And because another project of ours was slower to take off, we were going to have them boosting and juicing bikes and working with the EVs. And as it turned out, we tapped into our own network of green certified businesses and members and ended up creating a curriculum that we taught them in classroom type setting, really in a conference room. And we rotated those throughout the member networks, and then each of them did a rotation with the member businesses. So they got exposed to solar manufacturing, they got exposed to a cleaning service that uses purple water, our air quality monitoring network, that data, placing the sensors. They really got exposed to a lot of different things, tree planting, and canopy creation. And so it just really turned out that by tapping into our network because of the delay in the other project, I think we created a more robust opportunity for our young folks.
That's awesome. And I guess since we have 3 chambers in California, I think it's important that we address the fires and other issues that have been going on, especially because I am from California myself. So it's sad to see, you know, the climate that we're in. So I guess my question to you guys is, how do you think us chambers can help these small businesses during these times of struggle, especially with the fire and the pandemic all at the same time? I know it's a loaded question. I'm sorry.
So I would say, and I'll jump in first, and my colleagues can add on. I would say that businesses need a significant amount of help right now. When we look at California, employers in California, I believe we have more than 1 million small businesses, and they contribute to more than 50% of our workforce. When you consider that the California economy is probably about $9 billion, I'm rusty on my numbers, but I think I'm in the ballpark. Clearly, our small businesses are a significant part of the economy. So if the economy is going to rebound, then we have to focus on our small businesses as a significant factor in the mechanisms that create or cause that rebounding. When we further segment that and we break up the small business data based on race, and we look at performance data, we can see that Latina and Black women fall behind other groups of women in terms of contracting and business revenue. Your average revenue for an African American woman's small business, micro business, less than $1 million in revenue, less than 5 employees, is about $25,000 a year right now on average. You can make that bagging groceries. So when we look at the opportunity for entrepreneurship, and there's nothing wrong with bagging groceries, that's not, I don't mean it to be demeaning in that way. I'm just saying that for all of the investment, you know, what you sacrifice in terms of family time, in terms of other opportunity, it is not as big a payoff for a Black woman as it is for an Anglo woman who's earning over $200,000 a year on average in her business. So we have to really look at the systemic barriers, social and economic barriers that create those kinds of conditions.
Amanda, if I could just mention, there's 4 things that we're doing for small businesses around COVID and the fires. One is making sure that our childcare facilities are unencumbered, are enabled, and allow working parents to be able to leave the house and get to work and earn a living. Second thing is we're identifying regulations by sector that are impeding businesses, whether it be revenue growth or reopening. The third thing is access to capital and really building that out in terms of web resources and seminars, and making sure that microloans, lines of credit, and SBDC types of facilities are available. And then lastly, developing a professional services network of vetted, discounted professional services for small businesses, and making sure those 2 communities get together.
And then Brett, did you have anything else you wanted to say as well?
Sure, yeah. Very important topic for us. Being a coastal community, we have a big priority on preserving open space in our community, but then also open space quickly becomes fuel when fire season hits. So there's a really delicate balance there. And as a suburban community, we're not a backcountry community. We did get hit 6 years ago with one of the fires. In 2014, San Diego County had something like 8 or 10 fires burning simultaneously, you know, in the county, and we were one of them. 70 homes were lost, several businesses were lost. So there's always that delicate balance, you know, because we want the open space, we want to preserve the environment for good reasons, but we have to also protect, you know, the livelihood of folks. So we're very engaged in that discussion. And as you pointed out, Amanda, the delicate balance right now, being prepared for fire season, which is an ever-present threat here in Southern California, in the midst of a COVID pandemic, is very tricky. So we've been partnering with our city and bringing in guest speakers to talk about what do those preparations look like and how can we be prepared? Because if, you know, we get a really bad blast of Santa Ana winds, we know, you know, we could be on the hot seat very quickly. That was a bad pun, but you know what I mean. It's an ever-present topic for us, and we're constantly engaging in preparation, and we were very engaged in recovery and response in the past. So yeah, it's never far from our mind here.
Absolutely. And then I guess since we're running short on time, I have one last question I would like to ask both Yves and Jennifer in regards to tourism, because both of you mentioned how that's like one of the main things you guys focus on as a chamber. I guess in similar fashion to what I asked the California chambers, how do you think the pandemic has affected this, and do you think it's actually helped or hurt the environment?
Yves, I'll let you go first.
Please go first, Jennifer.
Well, for Sedona, I think we've been really fortunate in bouncing back much quicker than we would have expected. We're really just about 10% off of where we've been. But I think for other destinations who are maybe needing to work harder to get back to a new normal, it's really going to be about, I think the residents are rethinking the fragility of the industry, because tourism has been on such an upswing for the last 5 years or so. I think it's given residents a different view of the importance of tourism and how important it is to position yourself in the community, and the importance the industry plays in the community in terms of the amenities and quality of life. Especially as it relates to the number of jobs and the unemployment rates.
Well, I mean, yes, thank you. And in Mexico, I think the effect has been tremendous. You know, it's obviously flights that are canceled, so people, Mexico relies a lot of international tourism. So, I mean, what the pandemic is giving us is the opportunity to make a pause and reflect of the manner in which tourism was being developed, and an opportunity to do something. And I was very much inspired by Jennifer's talk about what Sedona did in terms of developing a sustainability plan, because I think that's something that we lacked in Mexico, and major tourist developments were being developed irresponsibly. You know, there was only 3-4 main tourist destinations that were being developed in a country so big as Mexico. You're concentrating too much tourism in very small populations, and there's no benefit to the community. And it's really something that is really not sustainable at all. So the pandemic is giving us the opportunity to reconnect with the communities, to allow to better understand what do we need in terms of tourism, to reactivate local tourism and not necessarily international in a first step. And secondly, to engage with all the actors and rethink how we're going to boost tourism again. I will mention in this regard, and everyone will be invited to attend, but there's a conference, the ATMEX conference, which is Adventurous Tourism Conference, the 25th and 28th of October. And one of the main discussions is how tourism needs to be reshaped for the post-COVID era. And Mexico, being one of the most important tourist destinations in the world, is really much interested in changing the game and apply all our knowledge and creativity to develop new manners to connect with the communities and share the environment.
Thank you so much. And I believe that concludes our Q&A. So I would now like to hand it over to Michelle for our closing remarks.
Thank you. And perfect transition. I want to make a couple of announcements as well. We are partnered with Youth Climate Leaders that were originally based out of Brazil, and they have an upcoming, or collectively we have an upcoming event called the Day of the Climate Professional on November 24th. So they've reached out to us for a variety of different reasons. One being because of this coalition, and they really wanted the young professionals ranging up to 30 years old to be aware of chambers of commerce around the world. So we want to be able to ask each of you to participate and, give a story. So depending upon how many chambers we get, we're going to be on from 3 to 3:45 on Central Time for November 24th. Is a 24-hour event. And then if you have businesses who are small to mid-sized businesses, then we're also providing an opportunity for you to ask your businesses who have success stories in sustainability to be able to provide their insights and resources there as well. And next slide. In addition, they will have an entire job board that they're going to post. And keep in mind, they are international. So all across the world, if you want to reach out to your businesses or you as a chamber have job opportunities that are within the environment, climate, natural resources, recycling, waste management, sustainability, any sort of environmental focus, please, feel free to send those to us, and we will get those to youth climate leaders to be able to post up on this event, which they're expecting about 20,000 people. So, and about 50 events. And so we're going to hold about around 3 of those. And next slide. So we, as the Coalition for Chambers for Sustainability, we started an advisory council, so we're having an upcoming meeting in November. December or January, we're not exactly sure when. The coalition as a whole, we want to bring together and hold our first official meeting. We've been doing these amazing webinars, but eventually we want to just bring the coalition together and say, what is the focus? What are we going to do? We're just getting started. And then in January, we'll have another one of these webinars coming up to where we'll have more speakers from around the world. So if you're interested, again, another speaking opportunity. I know we have a lot of chambers on the call. In fact, we have not lost listeners for the most part. So if you want to speak, if you have a chamber, please reach out to us. You have Amanda's email right there. And again, I want to say thank you so much for the speakers today, for the chambers. I want to say thank you for the team who's just done an amazing job, rounding everybody up and going through the process of making this a success. And we are 1 minute early, so I just want to say thank you. And we hope to have each of you join in on the coalition. We offer that to each of you today. So thank you.
Thank you for joining, everyone.
Bye.
Right.